Hey, what's up, and welcome to episode 15 of the Talkin Carball podcast. My name is Austin, aka Knapstack, and I'm joined here by my friend Colin, aka the Sea Lion, aka Samson. Ready to talk some carball?
You have to bring Samson into this? No.
If you know, you know. Not that anyone who knows listens to this podcast.
Nope.
Nor should anyone at all.
Rub my shame all over the internet.
Someone's got to do it. But I don't really think we have any business. Do we have any business?
Follow us on the things.
Follow us on the things. A little tired of shouting that out at this point. You know, maybe we'll think of some business in the future. We haven't hit the lab in a little while.
Give us some feedback on our great what's it called, graphic thing that I made last time for our power rankings.
Graphic artist Colin creating some masterpieces.
Oh, so good, so good.
Let's just get straight into the Rocket League then. We got some news pulled up. There actually was a fair amount this week. I guess, rosters were still locking up a little bit, and some pretty exciting things actually happened. The first one I'm actually really stoked to talk about. One of the more interesting things we've had happened to a player in a long time, but Illusion transitioning to the coach of Envy. Thoughts?
If this is what he wanted to do, good for him.
Mm-hmm.
If not, it's kind of sad. I mean, I hope if he still wants to play, he could find a roster next split to go to. But I'm glad Envy got a coach.
Yeah, 100%. Like stamp on that point, and also the idea where it's sad if he couldn't find a good team to go to just because he deserved it. But I think that if this is the end of Illusion's career, he has to go down as one of the most disrespected and underrated players of all time. I think like it made me laugh a lot, like the Envy announcement where they're like, "Welcome back, Illusion," where Illusion was signed by Envy, played for a month, and then was immediately kicked for Turbo. The dude is so respected and has been a part of so many good teams, but it's just he's always been the first man out. So maybe coaching will be a new step in his career where he's a little more valued.
Yeah, I mean, we all loved Lan Illusion. Maybe we'll see it again, maybe not. But he went out on an absolute high note. If that's the end.
That is big time true, and I don't know too much about like the details of it, but I do know at least like last year, I'm pretty sure he was a full-time college student, and so maybe too like this will just being a coach is a lot more doable in terms of work-life balance than being a professional gamer.
That's definitely true.
But hopefully, I mean, we weren't. I don't think either of us are too huge on the new Envy roster, but I think this like ticks the needle a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Knocks them up one notch, just because I do think they need a coach. I think every team should have a coach. Just to, keep them grounded.
Especially now that we're going back to in-person events. I think for online, it's a little less important, but I think for in-person, it's much more important just to have that extra presence there.
Yeah, for sure.
Next little bit of news, not really anything too special, but just kind of like a cool little news piece from earlier today, actually. The 5-year anniversary of Garrett signing to NRG. And the only reason I really wanted to bring this one up, just because I think it's pretty cool just to even think about that, like, the longevity that the Rocket League scene has had at this point. Like, that someone has had 5 years stable, like we have franchise players now, like, I just think that's a cool thing for the scene to have someone A like Garrett and A to hit this benchmark.
Absolutely. And with Torment and Gimmick splitting up, Garrett is now part of the longest standing active duo in Rocket League of Garrett and Justin.
That's crazy. We've lost a lot of those combos in this past year. And last one standing.
Yeah, it's something special for sure.
Yeah. Next piece of news, I was a little hesitant to include this, but Colin just kept insisting and insisting.
I
so
did not want to include this. It's not relevant to RLCS in any way.
I said, Colin, we'll talk about Forky. Power, after raging success last year with their roster, um, have now announced their new team of Forky, Noxus, and Nebra. Thoughts on this, Colin? I know you're excited.
This literally has no impact on RLCS.
More or less impact on RLCS than Liquid.
Less. Liquid at least made close qualifiers.
I'm talking about for this split.
Oh, still less.
That's even the Liquid campaign. Oh man.
Liquid has players who are RLCS bound. Power does not.
Don't disrespect boxes like that. And I don't know anything about Nebra, but I saw some people were a little more excited about this than the previous Power roster. So
Noxus, I think, is a sideswipe goat, so maybe he can, do something over there for Power.
yeah, with the way mobile gaming is going by 2023, all RLCS will be sideswipe. So
I sure hope not.
Yes, but into slightly more relevant RLCS news. Triple Trouble has been revitalized with Ronicky, VK Salen, and Dorito. Pretty cool and exciting team, definitely living up to the namesake of Triple Trouble. But I think this team has a chance of definitely qualifying for at least one regional.
It's not Triple Trouble without Tadpole. I'm just saying.
Hey, at least they have one OG.
They do. They do have one OG.
But,
I just want to take a moment here to apologize if there's any background noise. I have roommates again.
Colin is not a human trafficker. That's what you are about.
It is someone's birthday, and they're happy about it. And I think playing a card game.
Next week, Colin will have a full soundproof podcasting studio with next gen microphones and headset gear.
Absolutely not.
Other piece of news from coming out of Europe was Stormtroopers, also less iconic brand than Triple Trouble, but also getting a revamp. I am struggling to remember who was on this team, even though it was just announced. I know Dead Monster left there from Navi, I believe joining up with Ocelon and Tho off the top of my head. I think that's right.
Dead Monster, Tho, and Ocelon. That is correct. And so Dead Monster was on the old Stormtroopers roster with apparently Jack and Polar.
Yeah, a very exciting team that was sort of the birthplace of Jack's career. And Dead Monster is a very, very smart and good ones player. And every time he joins a team, there's a little bit of hype around that. Obviously, Tho and Ocelon, both players who have made RLCS, played on RLCS. So definitely kind of, I think, slots into a very similar place as Triple Trouble.
Yeah, I would agree.
And then on the NA side, sort of more in that bubble roster range, we got KCP announcing Krazix, the transfer from Oxygen. We were sort of speculating about what might happen there with the idea of Gimmick joining, but he is joining Wanda Mike and Mektos on KCP.
Yes, so he's replacing Kronovi and Freshness.
Yeah.
I think they both left because it was a 4-man roster, and Kronovi is doing some casting for the team, and they hit an absolute nutty play. There's a highlight out there. It was just ridiculous.
Obviously not like true RLCS, but one of the coolest clips to ever come out of competitive Rocket League.
Absolute insanity.
Another cool bit of news was Litecoin Gaming signing Nefarious, one of sort of like the more notorious NA bubble teams at this point. They've been around and they've qualified for for regionals like this season, last season. So very cool to see them get rewarded with a new org joining the scene.
Yeah, I would say they're in about the 2/3 of all the regionals, so a very consistent open qualifier team and close qualifier team.
Yeah, and at this point, I think the only team that criminally is unsigned in NA is probably Vibrance, but yes. Nefarious we're definitely competing for them for that coveted spot.
Yeah, I mean it's close, but I think Vibrance is the better team, and they're all super young, and really at this point are kind of locked in as a top 16 team, I would almost say, because they're in, I think, every regional so far, except for maybe one.
Yeah, it would be disrespectful not to put Vibrance in your top 16 if you were ranking NA, 100%. But sort of transitioning tangentially to a team that we were disappointed to not see in the top 16 after making it almost every time last year, was Flashes of Brilliance, the org that is the home of NRG and Rocket League legend Jacob, is partnering with AAA, the auto care service, to, to single-handedly save the NA bubble scene. They're creating the AAA Challenger Series, which is basically competitions being held for the 17th through 24th teams, like the teams that just barely don't miss out on making RLCS. There's $50,000 on the line between 6 events, so really, really exciting to see someone sort of doing something outside of RLCS in the scene.
Yeah, especially there was a lot of talk this week about the bubble scene and what could be done to help it, and just honestly incredible timing by Flashes of Brilliance and AAA to get this out. It's a $1,500 prize pool every week. We don't know the format yet, but it's starting on the 24th.
Yeah, whoever like the marketing person is must have been so excited on Twitter this week, just seeing like all the NA bubble players like be like, "Come on, someone do something." They're like, "Oh baby, we got you."
Yes.
Oh man, is there any other news that we missed? I feel like there's a
Um,
surprising amount.
Jay Russ came out of retirement.
Really?
Yeah,
Does he have a roster?
he's playing on Manzana with Luke and Poyo, and they'll be in that Flashes of Brilliance tournament.
Okay, sick, sick. Yeah, I saw that they were close to qualing.
And just
Uh,
to make me more confused with Jay Russ, J Bot, and J Pow.
Jay Wismont is hanging around down there
Yeah,
too somewhere.
yeah. He's I think coaching or subbing somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
It truly, truly is. But happy to see the NA bubble scene getting healthy again, and happy to see a player that retired too early coming back, whether or not he's taking his career seriously anymore. But cool to see J. Russ back. He's a really, really talented player.
For sure. All right. I think that'll get us into a brief overview of the closed qualifier for this first regional.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the teams that made it. So the closed qualifier is still Swiss system, even though the main event is not. But the closed qualifier is still a Swiss bracket. So the teams that went 3-0 were Rogue and Shopify. So really good to see Shopify bouncing back with their new player, and Rogue looked way better with Aqua.
It's kind of, well, I can speak more to Rogue than Shopify. But Rogue last year, I think we're sort of missing someone with confidence on the ball. Like Turo is an extremely talented mechanical player, but he's more of like a creator like a creator for others rather than a creator for himself. Rocco is more like his offensive contributions are shooting, and Gyro is just sort of like a space maker. And just to see Aqua's confidence like on the ball, like it was very obvious that he wanted it and he was just scoring everything. So as someone who's invested in Rogue, this was very welcome to see.
Yeah, they look good. I can't pull up the stats now because I don't know how to find qualifiers on Octane, but Aqua's goal participation was insane. Like I felt like he was scoring everything.
Yeah, no, they were pounding teams in some of their games. Like a lot of the games like weren't even close. It didn't feel like. So
Yeah,
after a very disappointing fall, that is 100%. If this team could honeymoon and actually do something, that would just make my heart soar.
yeah. And so the next three teams to qualify were Torrent, Exa, and Vibrance. Pretty standard here. Nothing
The one
nothing
thing
to
I
write
wanted,
home about.
the one thing I kind of wanted to point out here, two of these three teams that went 3-1 lost to Shopify. And then the third team that lost to Shopify was Oxygen, who also made the regional. And so Shopify only beat teams that qualified for the regional, and they won all of them 3-1. So
Yeah,
that run by them was ridiculous. And then it's also good to see sort of the mainstays of NA coming back and looking good.
yeah, good to see Rabbit and Memory back in the field.
Yeah. And also
For sure.
Exet and Torrent, who had decent falls, especially Exet. It would be disappointing to see them sort of fall by the wayside. So good to see them back. Good to see Vibrance back. All coming out with some important wins over comparable teams.
Yeah, and then our last three teams to qualify were Sonics, RBG Esports, and Oxygen. I'm sure some of these, especially Sonics and Oxygen, would have liked to be a little more comfortable, but Oxygen making the regional is better than they did last split when they only made one. They only made the last one, so 2 in a row for them with their now with their new player. So
it would have been tremendously disappointing to not see either of those teams there. But
yeah,
something we also didn't cover is RBG made a change this offseason, bringing in Zanil for Stokely. My brain is synapsing right now. But they were in a couple of the regionals last split, so good to see them back too.
Yeah, for sure.
And
then them
versus Accelerate is going to be those two teams are going to be in the 3-2, 2-3 battle every single time.
yep,
100%.
So yeah, notable teams that didn't make it: E United just missed out, Accelerate just missed out, KCP, Charlotte Phoenix didn't make it, Nefarious went 0-3, and Pittsburgh Knights did not make the close qualifier, but I believe they lost to 2 good teams. I think they lost to I don't actually know, but they lost to 2 pretty good teams in the qualifiers to miss out. So tough luck for them.
I mean, this is a pretty stacked lineup of 16 teams. Like even you see Litecoin Gaming / Nefarious down there in the 0-3, and these are some very strong pickup teams around them as well. So definitely deep competition in NA, but PK would 100% expect to be making, making the close qualifier, if not the regional.
Yeah, for sure. All right. That will take us to the main event. We're back.
We are back, baby.
Real Rocket League. New format, group stage. Yeah. Round robin group stage, 4 groups of 4. Winner of each group goes into the upper bracket, and it's guaranteed a top 6. Mm-hmm. And the 2 and 3 go into the lower bracket and have an absolute fight ahead of them to get a good result.
Jeez, that is crazy. Those deciding games to see who gets the top spot in the groups are going to be very exciting because the stakes for that could hardly be higher.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal to get second.
Yeah, it's definitely. I hadn't really thought too deeply about this. Would you have rather seen just top 2 advance and then it's just a traditional double M bracket with 8 teams, or do you like this more?
I kind of like this more, but I wish second got a little more boost over third.
Yeah,
somehow
there's no incentive.
Maybe one less game they have to play. I don't know.
Either way, it's going to be really exciting. One other thing of note is that we will not have best of sets. Instead, the grand finals will be, just because it'll be the upper bracket team versus the lower bracket team, it'll be a bracket reset. So it's still the potential for a 21 game series, but transitioning back to more of a traditional tournament format.
Yes. Well, wouldn't it be a max 14 game?
Max 14 games, that's right.
Yes. Also, with this new format, we had to unfortunately say goodbye to our favorite easy claps, fill the gaps, and getting slapped. We have a new prediction format that I don't have a great name for, but
it's the random prediction generator, RPG.
Yes, RPG. So what's gonna happen is for each group I've randomly selected a seed that me and Austin are gonna have to predict. So it'll be a different seed. So we'll each pick one seed, 1 2 seed, 1 3 seed, and 1 4 seed, and the groups that we predict each seed for that will be randomized. If that makes any sense.
It does not, but as we do it, it hopefully will.
Yes, yes. So for Group A, Austin will be predicting the 4th seed, and I will be guessing the 2nd seed.
All
And
right.
these will change every regional as they get randomized.
So Group A, which is probably the most sort of straightforward group if you were trying to organize them by like appropriate sort of rank. I feel like the seeding worked cleanest for this one, but it is NRG, RBG, Vibrance, and XSET. So I am predicting the 4th place team in this group, and as we all know, my predictions do not miss. So I feel like it's gonna come down to RBG Vibrance. I just feel like that's sort of like the most obvious matchup, and I'm gonna go with a little bit of an upset, and I think that honeymooning RBG would beat Vibrance and send them out. So my
Ooh,
4th place pick is Vibrance.
ooh, spicy early. So I'll be predicting the 2nd seed, and I'm not gonna overthink this. I'm gonna give it to XSET. I think
Boo.
I think NRG sweeps this, and I think you're right. It comes down to RBG Vibrance for that 3-4, which just kind of leaves XSET floating in the middle at the 2 seed.
I could definitely see if that like sort of game is like top of the group deciding matchup ends up being Energy XSET. I could see that being an absolute banger series. I don't think
It,
XSET would take that. I think you're right, they sweep, but I think that would go to game 7.
yeah. Oh, I think it's. I assume the group stage is best of 5.
It's got to
Let's
be.
see. Yes, round robin is best of 5.
Okay.
Lower bracket round 1 and 2 are best of 5 as well.
That is whack. But
Yes, it is.
I'm sure they have a reason for that.
Time.
Yeah, time, most importantly. On to Group B.
Yes. I actually really like how they organize the rounds of this too, where in round 3, the 1 and 2 seeds, or like the top 2 seeds play each other and the bottom 2 seeds. So if everything kind of goes chalk, it'll be simultaneously the match for first place and the elimination match.
That is wonderful. Very satisfying.
Yes.
All right.
Group B. This time you are predicting the 2 seed. I'm predicting the 4 seed, and our group is G2, Ghost Gaming, Shopify Rebellion, and Version 1.
This is an insane group. We have new G2. We have new V1. The return of Shopify, also new, versus the sort of like, I'd say probably the most surprising team to be in top 8 from last season, Ghost.
Yeah, I would agree. Because for
So
some reason, Version 1 is not top 8, even though they are top 8.
yeah,
I don't know how that worked out, but
even if they had, it wouldn't have made that big of a difference anyway.
no.
But there is like this team, this group feels like there's G2, especially now with Atomic, which is crazy to think about, in sort of a tier of their own. And then these next 3 teams are all incredibly equal.
Yes.
And just purely off the fun factor, I think the team that made the biggest improvement in the offseason is Version 1. I couldn't be more excited for the return of Beast Mode. He is such a class player. So I have Version 1 taking the 2nd place spot in this group.
Let's go. And we're looking at that round 3 Beast Mode versus his old team Shopify. That could be a deciding factor in this one.
That is insane. Oh man, I cannot wait for Rocket League to be back. So many dope storylines.
And I'm predicting the 4th place team in this. And I'm sorry, Ghost, you're gonna get honeymooned on. You're gonna get honeymooned on by 3 straight teams. It's gonna be brutal. I'm sorry.
It's Parth season, baby. This is just like brutal for Ghost. It's like 3 like really exciting storylines, and then Ghost, who is already kind of boring. Who's gonna predict Ghost to do anything in this group? No, just complete disrespect. But like, just
Complete disrespect.
in terms of storylines, I mean, come on. All right. Speaking of storylines, holy, take us to Group C.
Group C, FaZe Clan, Space Station Gaming, Rogue, Torrent. Holy group of death.
Also, just group of storyline too. We got the new look FaZe, the God Squad with Sypical. We have the 2 prodigies, both in the same group, Daniel and Aqua, and Sypical's going against his old team. And then Torrent's just also in there too.
And then also, don't forget, First Killer going against his whole team of Rogue. Can Rogue be like, we don't need you. We're back anyway. We got young Aqua. He's going to clip on you.
Except
Probably not, but
it's just Taroko now. It was First Killer
was also like
shortest
Gyro
standing.
against his old team.
Oh my, dude, what that? And by old team, you mean Red Wolves?
Or AJ?
Oh, also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, both.
Yes.
Both. Dude, my brain can't handle the amount of like narratives in this group.
It's all Rogue's fault for changing teams every single split.
Yeah, but even like 2 rosters that had been relatively, well, not FaZe, but Space Station, which had been in a rock solid stable for the past year, like coming into this event. Oh my god. All right, what are we predicting for Group C?
You are predicting the winner, and I'm predicting 3rd place.
Who has the biggest honeymoon? Typical on FaZe. Daniel on Space Station. Aqua on Rogue? Oh, dude, I think I want to see the Space Station redemption arc this season, and I want to see Reddles trash talk his own former teammate in Space Station to win the group.
Oh my! Wow, Daniel coming out hot.
I don't think that's gonna happen at all, but that sounds really fun to me.
Well, it's your prediction, so by that definition, it's what you think is gonna happen.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, for 3rd place, I'm gonna go Rogue.
You don't think we're getting second? You don't think
no, I don't think they're getting second. But I do think they get 3rd, which is better than they got. That puts them into a playoff bracket, which is better than they did last split.
Yeah, they're not 12th through 16th every single event. That would be huge. That would be huge for the brand. Rip Torrent. Sort of similar spot to Ghost. It doesn't pay off to keep the same roster in our minds, apparently.
No. Despite, I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this podcast, we praised consistency over and over.
Yeah, but then it got boring and everyone decided to be fun.
Yes.
All right, Group D.
Group D, our last group, Complexity, Oxygen, Sonics, and Envy. Not a bad group at all.
No.
So for this one, I'm predicting 1, and you're predicting 3. And I'm going to go out right away. Complexity's winning this group.
Vamos.
I'm sorry, Envy. I believe in Complexity more than Envy.
Yeah, me too. God, I really like the way that the seeding plays out. That the round 3 is a banger in every single thing, even though it's round robin. I think Envy's gonna struggle this event, and I'm actually gonna slot them in that 3rd slot. I think either Sonics or Oxygen is very likely could get the jump on them, and I don't see a world where they don't qual, but I can see a world where they don't look quite as good. Either that, or they could pop. That would be sick. But this is a team I have like my gut is not very optimistic, and it's hard to just like overcome that anytime I like think about it.
I agree with that statement.
All right, so that wraps up the first round of RPG, and
Yes.
we're not going to try and go through the playoffs and
No, that'd be a nightmare.
amalgamate that, but gosh, just that little taste of regional action has got me so stoked.
Yeah, absolutely. So, do we want to do full NA power rankings?
I mean, I think we got it right.
I mean, we did. So last episode we did World. This time we're doing NA. Next time we'll do EU. Let's see what we got here. Number one. I guess I'll start it off.
Yeah.
I think until someone knocks them off, they're staying at number one. NRG.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't still have energy at number one coming into the season, you are off the goop. You are you are a wild man or woman. Like, come on. So yeah, nothing but agreement here.
Who
Number
you got on two?
number two, I feel like so our formula for this is history, form, and future.
Yes.
And I think taking all three of those into consideration, coming off a top four finish at LAN, and are making one of the most insane transfers we've ever seen and assembling one of the most talented rosters ever, I think you got to put FaZe Clan at number two. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that roster is just stacked.
Like, even just like flashing my mouse over it on Wikipedia, what the heck? And if they still have AXB coaching,
they do
with SIP, holy, that's all I gotta say. Holy,
absolute insanity.
I I I can't see this team losing. I can, but I can't. All right, stop my brain from melting, please.
But all right, I'll just move on to a similar team, not a similar team, but a team that was already good and also added an insane player in Atomic, and that would be G2. This team's gonna be moving quick.
Yeah. I think I talked about it a little bit last week, but like there are very few players who play even remotely similar to Rizzo. And I think Atomic is one of them. Less demos, but he just does so much stuff off ball, let alone like then you count in his goalkeeping. And it seems like what G2 has always wanted is just to find a way to enable like the Chicago JNAPS connection as much as possible. So not only are they getting an immense talent in Atomic, but he's also someone who's just going to create so much space for those two to play off of each other. So this team is nasty.
He also caused so many problems for G2 because they could not score on him when he was on NB.
I mean, who can? This dude is such a freak. I feel like just because, like, as opposed to like AJ, Justin, or like First Killer, whose mechanics are like really like displayed like on the ball, Atomic, like from like a mechanical level, is on par with pretty much anyone. He just uses it in different ways, especially goalkeeping.
Yeah, just this team's gonna be really exciting to watch. There's so many teams that are exciting to watch.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be ignoring Group A the entire event and just watching the other three.
Yeah, major facts on display. Ready for number four?
Number four, who you got?
I mean, one word. You want to say it?
Daniel?
No, Vamos.
Oh, vamos.
Vamos. I
Ooh.
I don't know. I think obviously Space Station or Envy or Rogue. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of teams could get here, but this team Complexity made top 8 at the major, Space Station wasn't even there, and not to
Fair.
mention complexity looked. They only lost to BDS. That is the only team they lost to in Stockholm. So I don't think it would be right to put Space Station above them, just because this team has done nothing wrong in the past couple months. Nothing. They've done nothing to bump them out of the top four, in my mind.
That is extremely fair and definitely where my mind should have been, and I apologize to all the Vamos fans out there. My
Nah,
deepest
dude.
condolences.
Daniel stocks though. There is
Someone
a.
cut that in post. Make ready? Just crop this back in. Vamos!
No, I'm just gonna make the Daniel 10 times louder,
Oh, dang
and then I'm gonna put it in right here.
it. Daniel? Uh,
All right.
in
Number
other
five.
news, Talkin Carball is looking for an editor and a new co-host. Daniel? I'm kidding.
All right, all right, all right, all right.
Number
Give
five.
me number five.
Number five, Space Station Gaming. I think it's bounce back season. Daniel's coming in. I don't think Daniel's obviously an immense talent, and I hope this sparks Space Station. Obviously, losing a player like Sibical hurts, but they might have found the best possible replacement on the market. So I'm really excited. If what Aqua's doing in close quals is any indication to what Daniel can do, this team should be good.
Yeah, and also when Reddles first joined Space Station with Arsenal and Sipical, they honeymooned hard. They had an incredible offseason and start of RLCSX. And I think that both Arsenal and Reddles are very much momentum based players. And so I think just like the emotional dopamine spike of adding in Daniel should alone, well, not alone, should help propel this team. I have very, very high hopes. It's like, it's kind of hard because when you look at FaZe and you look at G2, like this should be like the biggest, one of the biggest moves ever, like getting Daniel. So it's gonna be insane.
This first regionals, I'm so excited for this.
Yeah, I'm really glad. No disrespect to EU, but they were boring as hell this offseason. I'm glad we get to kick it off with NA.
Absolutely.
All right, number 6.
Number 6.
Do I be disrespectful?
Yes.
Oh man, wonder why you want that. Number 6. I'm doing it. Version 1, baby.
The boys.
The boys. The boys. It's beast mode time. Oh, I really hope that this works out well in their favor. V1 and Torment have deserved so much more for so long, and this team is cracked out of its mind. You have Cobb in beast mode. That's like abject joyous levels of like talent on the field at the same time. Oh man, dear, like whatever you pray to, please let this team work.
I mean, look at what Beast Mode did last season with Shopify. They should have been really top 6. I think they just missed out with FaZe Clan in like the last minute, but
Yeah.
basically tied for top 6. Now he's joining a team with Calm and Torment. I'm excited. I'm ready for the boys to pop off.
And a
This
team
gives
that
them this just gives them, I think, more consistency and more pop off potential at the same time.
Yeah, 100%. And what I was just going to add to that was this was a team that was already playing better than they ever had in the past split. So it's already upward trajectory, and then you're hopefully just, skipping up even higher. So number 6 V1.
That means I have to do 7, and I don't think I can drop them any further than
Even
this.
I rub your back, you rub mine. Come on.
I would love to. I really would. But to drop Envy past 7 would, I think, be disrespectful. As much as I don't believe it in the roster, I believe in the players on the roster. to not drop that further down. I'm going Envy.
Yeah, I can't fault that, whatever. And I honestly don't see Envy being outside of the top like 7 or 8. There's no way. Like, I think that there's a good chance that one team, whether it be V1, Shopify, Rogue, Xset, could slide above them. But I don't see them like being below 2 or 3 of those teams. I don't think there's any way that happens.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Especially with Coach Alu. I mean, come on.
Coach Alu. I mean, yeah.
All right. Number 8, is it?
Number 8.
I think if you're gonna consider the fall whatsoever, which we do, and even just like with the qualifier, dude, I feel like there's a case for putting Rogue here. Like, is that unreasonable?
I don't think it's unreasonable. They looked good in the qualifier.
So, can I default this to you? So I don't want a homer pick. It doesn't feel right. But if you want to take 8, I'll take 9, and I'll respect whatever decision you make.
Dang it! I was gonna predict the one you didn't. So what I want to do here is put Ghost.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about Ghost.
But I already predicted Ghost to not make it out of the group stage. So I'm gonna put Ghost anyway.
Oh man. Do we want to talk about Ghost?
No.
Okay.
I don't. But they were 7th in the fall. I think they'll be in that range again. But yeah.
Number 9, Rogue.
Yes, sir.
We have Aqua Baby. We have Gyro. We have The Rock. I think this team works a lot better than the past Rogue roster did. And it's a shame to see Turo go, but I think this new look team they've got the potential to make, I think, a top 8 in at least one of these regionals. I don't know if the consistency will be there, but I think the peak is that high. So Rogue 9.
Love that. And that brings me to 10. And I guess Xset.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
That's kind of, I feel like I have to do that. And then with some honorable mentions of Shopify, maybe
Torrent.
Oxygen, Torrent.
Yeah.
I think that's all we need to do there.
Sonics haven't really raised the pulse in a long time.
No.
Vibrant's, they're really good at making the majors, but they haven't really looked that great on the big stage, and they have a really rough group. So.
Yeah. And Oxygen's only made 2 regionals now, but just because they got that, top 4 last time?
Mm-hmm. And it's not the first time they've done that either.
Or top 8, I guess top it 8. Was, but still.
They have top 4 before.
Yes.
All right. NA power rankings from the top down. We have number 1 NRG, number 2 FaZe, 3 G2, 4 Complexity, 5 SSG, 6 V1, 7 Envy, 8 Ghost, 9 Rogue, 10 Xset. Honorable mentions go to Shopify, Oxygen, and Torrent. How are you feeling about that?
I think we nailed it.
Yeah. Oh.
Except, version 1, realistically, they have a 1 in their name, so I think they should be the number 1 team.
I was thinking about that. I was going down. I was like, wow, there's a lot of numbers in
here. Yeah, G2 should be 2. Yeah, Accelerate should be 8.
They were 2. Last split.
Last split, yes.
But oh man, I think that this is so exciting. I think that there is kind of a clear-cut top 3 just in terms of pure talent, and 4 through 10 all look really, really good.
Yeah. And these roster moves, obviously, we're predicting. We haven't seen FaZe play, haven't seen SSG play, we haven't seen V1 or
I mean,
G2 or Envy. We haven't seen any of those teams play. We've seen a little bit of Rogue and Shopify. But, I mean, we're kind of predicting based on just players and just kind of hoping. And we'll see how it goes.
we will, which is
But I think we nailed it.
yeah. This is it.
So, on that note, we apologize for the late release. That one's on me. We're a day late, but close enough to on time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a lot harder for us to prioritize like scheduling when it's not like there's something consistent for us to talk about. It's a lot easier during the season when there's like tournament. It's like, oh, tournament, we need to talk. Like
Yes.
now, it's like it's a little bit more flexible. So
I've also gotten a little bit busier. My life situation has changed.
me
I
too.
don't want to go into a ton of details, but yeah, we've both gotten busy, and
Yes.
but we're still doing this.
Yeah. Hopefully we can keep it up because if it's like half as much fun for y'all as it is for us, then it's 100% worth it.
On that note, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm just excited. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Peace.